There is a math professor approaching a seminar room, and there is the seminar he has to give there. And he looks into the room and 3 students are around. And then he says, oh, come on, it's a little too early, steps out of the room and walks up and down the aisle. And then he sees all of a sudden 6 students come out of the room. What does he think? His conclusion was, if now 3 more students get into the room, then it will be empty.
Welcome, Peter.
Hi.
So what's your job?
I'm a mathematician.
And where do you work?
The Technical University of Munich, in Garching.
Where would you like to be?
That's a very good question, because due to Corona, I had to cancel so many nice trips that I would have been on otherwise. So the trip that I would have enjoyed probably the most would have been the trip to Africa. So it would be an African scene.
You held a talk at TEDxTUM 2019. What was it about?
Oh, that was about the impact that mathematics can have on politics in the realm of election systems. Now, the nice thing here, as you can see, is that mathematics can actually help to improve democratic procedures.
Great. So today we want to go beyond that. Are you ready?
Of course.
I'd like to go way back. You told us that your mother wanted you to study medicine and your father wanted you to study law. Is that so?
Yeah, that's correct.
So how did you get into mathematics out of that combination, and what made you stick with it?
That's a very interesting and good question, because I'm not completely sure about that. I like mathematics, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have chosen that. But there were so many other subjects that I liked. And so my ideal situation would have been, at that time, to study one subject after the other. Study medicine, but don't practice. Study astronomy, but don't practice, but get all the information and knowledge. And actually, as it turned out, I didn't know that. Mathematics is just like that, because I've been involved in so many projects with people from medicine, physics, astronomy, I mean, you name it, even linguistics. So in a sense, this was a dream come true, even though at that time I didn't know that.
Mathematicians only care about theory and theorems, and they like to think about things that are very far from reality.
Well, obviously this is not true when you look around, when you see the cameras, when you see the internet, when you see your computer. Everything is full of mathematics. On the surface, you wouldn't notice that. On the surface, the computer, the internet is computer science, but the basis is mathematics, and mathematicians care about that. But there is this other side to mathematics, which generally, I don't like that very much, this term. It's called pure mathematics, but this is a way of organizing knowledge. So mathematics is an area where once you prove something and know this is correct, it will be correct forever. And in order not to have just a collection of single unrelated results, you need to build theory. So in a sense, it's the cleaning up the closet part of mathematics that some people refer to when they think like you mentioned that.
So how about if I say I'm just too stupid to understand mathematics?
It depends on what you think about when you say mathematics. So most people wouldn't say I'm too stupid to think logically. But this already is a key issue in mathematics. Most people would say, oh, come on, I like, for example, in the subway, people like to solve the Sudoku puzzles. But this is actually mathematics, and some kind of mathematics which is not so far away from computerized tomography. So it's even applied. So I think many people know a lot more about mathematics and certainly use mathematics than they think they do. But then, of course, there are levels of mathematics like, well, for example, when you're a runner, you don't compare yourself with some Olympic athlete. So there are certain regions which you can only reach when you have enough talent to do so, but there is enough which everybody could achieve.
Where else do I need mathematics in real life?
needing to understand mathematics is not, you don't need that much, but you're using mathematics all the time. It's like with medicine. You don't need to know exactly how your kidney works, but you know you have a kidney, and if you have problems, you go to a doctor. So there is a lot of mathematics that you're using every day. If you're driving a car, then the ignition system is optimized using mathematics. If you're using your mobile phone, how does your voice get to the receiver, and so on. So there is so much mathematics. But you don't need to know how it actually works. Like driving a car, you don't need to know how the engine works, but you have to be convinced it does.
Your TEDxTUM talk was about how mathematics can help create fair voting systems. And during the preparation, while we were talking about your talk, you pointed out that political decisions should be based more on quantitative reasoning.
I mean, there are all sorts of levels at which mathematical reasoning can help. There is the face level of it, and I'm sure that in the Ministry of Finance or the Ministry of Economy or the Ministry of Mobility, there are mathematicians dealing with interesting and important questions. But there are many other ways mathematics could help, because one thing that the mathematicians are sort of trained in is to change perspectives. So you would think about collaterals, for example, in a much stronger fashion than you would usually see that in real-world politics on the face of it. Maybe there are people doing that, but the mathematical attitude would help you. For example, if you're building a new road, and you're building this road because you want to foster mobility, you don't want to create traffic jams that way. But actually this may happen. So a new road may create more traffic jam, even though the traffic in total hasn't changed. In statistics, you have so many problems interpreting statistics. And I'm sure many people in all sorts of positions where they have to make decisions have problems with that, and many other examples for that. So I think this mathematical reasoning, this way of looking at things in a not so emotional but rational fashion from different perspectives is useful.
Where do you think that would be useful in politics? Can you name some examples?
Where I think everywhere. I mean, I'll give you a stupid example. So suppose you have some sort of steam engine, and this steam engine has some high pressure valve, which starts producing some noise when the steam gets out. And you don't like this noise. So one way of solving this problem would to close this valve, to just block it. And this is not exactly the best way of solving problems, because at some point this steam engine will explode. And I think it is useful to know what you're doing and to understand the effects that what you're doing will have.
Do you think that politics is ready to adapt to this mathematical reasoning?
Yes and no. I think to a large extent, I'm very happy, and you see that in the crisis right now, to have politicians who think about what they're doing before they are saying something and doing it. So I think there is a lot of expertise behind that, and so that's good. So I think yes, people are ready, but on the other hand, there is it's not a static situation. So by making a decision into the unknown future, you're shaping the future as well. So there will always be aspects which you don't oversee at the time when you're doing this kind of political decision business.
What makes you really angry?
What I don't like is very narrow-minded ways of acting, and particularly not among people who are not so narrow-minded in the first place. So not wanting to understand arguments and not observing good arguments, that usually I don't like.
If you got to design a completely new education system of secondary education, which subjects should be taught to better prepare young adults for the challenges they'll face?
I think what is very important is to design a system where it's curiosity that is a driving force, and not passing exams. I mean, passing exams is fine, but it should, I mean, doing science should be curiosity driven. And I don't understand why, when you look at little girls and boys at the age, I don't know, of 10, they go into the forest and they discover things and they like it, and they put a lot of effort in trying to understand certain things, and then at a certain period in their life, things change. So for me, in my school education, I like to read books at home. As soon as some of these books became part of the curriculum at high school, I had to force myself to read them again or to read them for the first time. And I think there is something going in the wrong direction there, but many people are trying to do something about that. And it's not easy.
You taught in both Germany and the US. How is that different?
I think the main difference is the attitude towards studying. In the US, students pay a lot and they expect a lot, which is fine, but they see the chances of their education at a university as a privilege. In Germany, the situation is slightly different. Many students, not all of them, but many students think it is the task of the teachers, the professors, the assistants and so on, to teach them something, and the attitude changes dramatically when they go abroad. Then they are in a different situation and they come back with a different attitude that way.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you.